This is a coping mechanism podcast.
This is a coping mechanism podcast.
This is a coping mechanism podcast.
Greetings, one and all, and welcome to a different kind of episode of This is a Coping Mechanism podcast. I am your only host, Ted. Today we'll be doing something a little bit different for today's episode. Unfortunately, my wonderful friend and co-host, Bessie, has had some scheduling concerns arise, so we will not be able to get an episode together this week. However, I put together something a little different, a little shorter for you. We're going to be doing a reading from one of my favorite books, joke intended, but still very good. A bathroom book for people not pooping or peeing, but using the bathroom as an escape, by Joe Pera, illustrated by Joe Bennett. Now, for anyone who doesn't know, which I'm assuming is most people, Joe Pera is a writer, obviously, actor, and stand-up comedian, best known for his, I believe that he puts it, slow comedy. I found him through, they did an animated short called Joe Pera Talks You to Sleep. And it's just a little Adult Swim thing. You can go watch it for free on YouTube. I'd highly recommend it, but it got him a show. And imagine a show taking itself serious in the context of it being a show, but every second is like a underlying comedic bit. But it's not. None of his jokes are very in-your-face punchline. It's all just this even-paced kind of humor that, I don't know, it just tickles me. And I've been a big fan of him for many years. And I watched his show for many years whenever it was on. Unfortunately, it got canceled by Adult Swim. But 3 seasons of something like that. Who would have thunk it? Anyway, now he does specials and podcasts and touring and stuff like that. But last year, I believe, maybe 2 years ago, he put out this book. And I actually got it as a Christmas present because everyone who knows me knows that I really love Joe Pera. So I actually do keep this in my personal bathroom at all times, and it always gets a good laugh, or something from people if I have people coming over to visit. If I'm hosting something, if someone uses that bathroom, every time they see it, they're always like, "Oh my God, I need to get one of those," or "That's such a funny idea for a book." And it may sound a little goofy, but there's some stuff in it of, I don't know about you, but I've definitely been to parties or gatherings or stuff where I've not been entirely comfortable. And I'm sure there's plenty about you are the same thing. We're going to social events is required for one reason or another. Maybe you're a lot younger and you're having to go to family events. Your parents are taking you out to Christmas or holiday dinners or something like that. Maybe you are in a relationship and you're having, your significant other needs to go to this social event for work or maybe friends or whatever, but you're not entirely comfortable with that group of people. And for whatever reason, a lot of times we tend to find ourselves in situations that we may not be entirely comfortable with. And I'd say I can do fairly well whenever it comes to, spending time with new people. But even still, I can get overloaded and get, past the point of stimulation, and I just need a break, or and Sometimes you just go, hey, I gotta go to the bathroom. Then you go there and hang out, and then you do that math in your head of how long can I be in here with it seeming like I was just going pee, not going poop. But I can't be in here for too short of a time because then they'll be like, did you not wash your hands? It's just a little joke. But whenever I got this book and whenever I said, I've definitely been in that position before, and I've talked to some friends, and I know a lot of people apparently it's been in that position all the time. I have one person who I gotten to know somewhat recently, and she was telling me that she was telling me that she was autistic, and she was explaining to me how different situations affect her autism in different ways. And one of the ways that it affects her is getting too stimulated. She needs to, she called it overstimming. And she needed to kind of get out that stimulation. And sometimes if it gets too much, she would have to shake her head, wave her hands. But in professional settings, she recognized that that wasn't the most, socially acceptable thing to do in one meeting or another. So she would excuse herself, go to the bathroom, release that stimulation, and then continue on. And while she was telling me all this, not all, but a big thing I could think of was, if you had this book, they had that in there, I think it'd be a good way to calm yourself. Anyway, if you're interested, I know Joe Pera sells this book on his website for my YouTube. Well, for our YouTube listeners, watchers, I'm showing the book right now. If not, you can go to, I'm sure it's joepera.com, I believe, and check out and get your own copy. If not, enjoy this reading, see if it's for you. I will say I'm not going to pause to show the illustrations because there's just too many. So this will mostly just be a simple reading. But I would recommend, if you enjoy this piece, go out, buy a copy. There's some lovely illustrations to go with the humor of it all. All right. Here we go. A bathroom book for people not pooping or peeing, but using the bathroom as an escape, by Joe Pera, illustrated by Joe Bennett. Are you all right? You are now. You're in the bathroom. If you don't mind me asking, what's going on? Did you just excuse yourself to toot? Are you hiding away from your kids? Or is your date going great and you're taking a moment to appreciate it before it inevitably falls apart? Are you working up the confidence to say no to a car salesman? Trying to think of something to say that'll change the judge's mind? Or like me, are you flushing an engagement ring down the toilet for a third time this year? I cannot be tied down. Whatever it is, you can relax. Because here, in the bathroom, you are safe and alone. The only astronaut awake on the International Space Station, between two sleeping grandparents watching the Golf Channel on mute, looking out on the lake of a snowy night that is not too cold, and it's quiet too, because everyone else back in town is celebrating New Year's Eve. But you wouldn't trade 100 midnight kisses for the peace and calm you've got right now on the shores of Lake Ontario. One thing that helps me calm down is to repeat the word Hawaii over and over again. Feel free to try it. Hawaii. 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 I've never been there myself, but I hear it's nice. You could say Tampa, Tampa. But it's not quite the same, because in Hawaii, there are pineapples. Because it grows in tropical places, it takes 3 years to mature. Pineapple, not the most affordable fruit, but in my opinion, one of the best. I don't have refined taste buds. My favorite flavor, salt and pepper. But a lot of other people agree as well. Did you know that on the island of Oahu, they even make pineapple wine? Wow. If you want to pretend you're near a Hawaiian waterfall, just turn on the shower or the bath a little. No one will know. They'll just think you're washing your hands for a long time. Close your eyes and listen. Shh. Can you hear the waterfall? Wind blowing through the kauki trees? Brought to Hawaii by the ancient Polynesians. And the most attractive person you can imagine nearby saying, "Come on, let's go beneath the waterfall." Okay, you say. These shorts are alright to get wet. And after you're putting your wallet, cell phone, and rental car keys on a rock, you join them. Have you stood beneath a waterfall before? It actually kind of hurts. If you look up, it's like getting sprayed by a super soaker in your eyes. Sorry. That's not relaxing to think about. How's the bathtub doing? Oh, nice. About a third the way full? Do you mind if I ask what's the longest you've ever hid in the bathroom before? Wow. That's a while. Me? Maybe an hour, but I can't remember the specifics. But I do remember the first time I realized that I could take sanctuary in the bathroom. I was 12 years old at my cousin Maria's wedding and discovered that if I just stayed in there, I wouldn't have to dance with my aunt. She's a heavy drinker and really knows how to swing a chubby kid around. Sorry to my aunt, but I can't be the only one who's ever hidden in the bathroom to avoid a dance. Weddings. Maybe my fear of marriage comes from the fact that I understand the seriousness of it. It's a lot of time to spend with someone, and a little less time alone. Yes, sharing intimacy and affection with another person is good, but a bit of quiet solitude, pretty good too. In a moment like this, wouldn't it be nice just to wander the woods for a while? Move to Alaska and live in a cabin you've built yourself. Like retired mechanic Richard Roanoke notably did 1968 to 1999. You could go out each morning, Richard, with your 16mm camera and film doll sheep all day. In the afternoon, catch a trout and eat it for dinner. And then, in the evenings, just stare at the fire till you're ready for bed. Without a single person around to interrupt your thoughts, you could spend hours thinking about how good the trout tasted. Trout. You could also become a monk. You choose what kind. You choose what kind. But if you become a Buddhist monk, you could perhaps reside in the Tongklat Monastery atop a volcanic plug. Not only would it be beautiful, but though mosaic living, you could develop techniques to help you endure situations like the one you're currently in. Though there is probably not enough time for spiritual transformation in this bathroom, maybe we can at least try to put things in perspective. I mean, whatever's going on outside that door can't be the worst thing that's ever happened to you. If it is, turn to page 107. We'll get there shortly. But chances are you've been through worse. For instance, you've passed the bar exam. You can listen to Sean out there talking about CrossFit 30 minutes. You've disappointed people before. You can let the car salesman know that despite the fact that your children go to school together, you cannot afford to purchase a car out of guilt. You've seen some terrible things as an emergency responder. You can watch of the rest of the film without screaming every time E.T. comes on screen. You survived being thrown before. You can go down there and say, "All right, you female bodybuilders, including my wife, it's 2 a.m. Poker night over." You've endured angry clients before. You can go out there and tell them you've lost all their money investing in a new kind of trolley. You're Jane Goodall. You've lived in the jungle with chimpanzees for over 15 years. You've written 25 books and made 7 films. You're not sure why they asked you to participate in the NBA skills competition. But you can go out there and hold your own. You've embarrassed yourself at parties before. You can go out there and say, "Sorry, but it was me who spilled the laundry detergent. I know it's inappropriate to poke around someone's laundry room during a holiday party, but my former lawyer/ex-husband was coming around the corner, and I didn't expect to run into him here. And while I was in there, working up the confidence to engage with him, I noticed this really interesting looking bottle, a type of detergent I've never seen before, and decided to take a look. This cap was loose. You know what happened next. I'm sorry. Clean it up. And I'm sorry to those who slipped and hit their heads." Anyhow, if you don't want to, that's okay too. Whatever you're in the bathroom, or say this aloud to yourself. I have good intentions. I believe in myself. Feel like I'm 22. I've never had my heart broken, and I still trust the government. I'm 3 inches taller. I can dunk every time. There's no place I'd rather be but here. Oh, how the previous generations of humans wish they had the wealth of antibiotics available to them that I have to me. What I own is enough. This applies to my hairline. Well, I can hit a fastball and absorb every unkindness. I will mow in the in-between strip of the lawn that's technically neighbors. I won't get angry when cut off in traffic, and in fact, I will honk at them, let them know that it doesn't bother me at all. I will be honest, except for in instances where it might be unnecessarily hurtful, in which case I will talk about lighthouse restoration. I will not prompt conversation about my dreams from last night or music festivals that I've attended. I did not leave the cooking gas on. I did not leave the cooking gas on. And maybe I should get married. Maybe I should give it a shot. Time spent with another person is good. Maybe even necessary. And I did not leave the cooking gas on. In summary, I will leave this room with the confidence Donna Summer, plus Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and everybody out there, including myself, will be rocking their bodies. Heck yeah, this is good. Let's go out there, and if it doesn't go well, I can always come back. The bathroom will always be here for me. And if you're in the bathtub, dunk your head. When you come up, you are reborn. More confidence than you ever had in your life. And you could re-enter the party, naked and wet. And that, my friends and lovely people, was a bathroom book for people not pooping or peeing, but using the bathroom as an escape. Reading this book will make you feel better while you sit on the toilet with the lid down, avoiding on whatever's on the other side of that door. Unless it's alien monsters, in which case, I'm sorry to say, maybe, but I don't hold out that much hope. But yeah, so that was the book. I know, goofy, weird, kind of out there. Not usually what we do on this show, but I got the idea in my head earlier this week. I had some plans to have some guests on. We may still do that. It kind of depends on where schedules line up later. But I'll try to see about maybe getting some guests on during this interim period before Jesse comes back. That being said, when I got this idea, we talk about this show. We watch a lot of shows and movies and talk about different things. But the crux of the show is coping. Dealing with your problems, whether they be personal, physical, mental. How do we as people stomach and get through hard situations? And I think people do that in so many different ways. I couldn't even, I'm not a scientist. I'm not a psychologist or what have you, but I do know that I definitely deal with problems in a lot of different ways, and some of my friends deal with problems. I tend to make a lot of jokes. I tend to take things not too seriously. When they do get serious, I handle them in different ways where I just go about trying to fix things or make food or something like that. I think anyone out there with old Italian grandpas kind of know what that's like, where just cook and fix and then everything will be okay. But this book, I think, for me, really kind of deals with the crux of how I cope with things. Of just kind of flatly finding humor in even serious topics, but even finding nuggets of, wisdom in those comedic, quote unquote, serious moments. I'm sure there's tons of people out there, as someone who has dealt with anxiety off and on for most of my life, and I'm sure plenty of you do as well. This book, I think, really does speak to a lot of people, and it's something that if you're like me, and let's say, for instance, you you're having a really hard conversation with a loved one, or, you know, having to, like it says, deal with rambunctious kids or something like that, and you just want a bit of an escape. I think that having something like this that you can, not necessarily this book, but maybe for you, but something kind of lighthearted, something kind of small and short that you can get, that you can just focus your attention, take that dread away, even for a little while, I think is very important to have as a coping mechanism. And, you know, for me, I try to find it in little things like this book, you know, sometimes video games, sometimes just, like, I'm sure a lot of you just doom scrolling on my phone looking at random shorts or YouTube videos or stuff like that. But I know having too much of that can be unhealthy, but I think there is something to be said for having the right amount. And for me, I think this book is the right amount. I know this episode is just probably going to be a little shorter than what you're used to, and I know it's not exactly the same format, but I would love to know if you enjoyed it. I assure you we'll be back to more regularly scheduled programs soon, and this will just kind of be a little interim to hold you guys over why the new content coming soon. I am really excited for our next episode. If you'd like to watch along, we'll be doing Scavenger's Reign on, you can watch it on HBO. Not sure if it's anywhere else, but you can watch along with that. We'll be having a discussion about adapting to survival with that. And yeah. Anyway, I guess after that, I'll just say, check out Joe Pera's book. Like I said, joepera.com. I'm sure you can buy it there. I believe it's on Amazon as well. This is not a sponsored or promoted thing, obviously. We ain't that big. But I do genuinely love Joe Pera. I love his comedy. I love, you know, I love. I've yet to see something of his that I haven't enjoyed. Feel free to go check him out. Tweeted him that I said that, you know. Maybe I'll get him on the show. That'd be nuts. If I could interview Joe Pera, that would be freaking nuts. Anyway. Check us out on social media platforms. YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, I believe. Usually Bessie's Bit. But I believe those are all those. Check us out on Patreon. Patreon.com/This is a Coping Mechanism Podcast. Please tell your friends about us. We really, really proud of this show. Really love for more people to watch it. One, for views, you know, I'm not going to lie and say that wouldn't be nice. But honestly, I do feel very proud of the show. And love it if more people got to see it. Anyway. Thanks for watching, guys. Thank you for coping with us. Thank you for coping with me. And I'll catch you next time. Bye.